All right, hey family, this is part two of the origins of Black American stereotypes. All right, this is where we're now starting from the 1990s to present day, okay? And how these stereotypes continue. First of all, let's talk about racial coding in politics. Modern conservative politicians continue to use phrases like inner city culture and entitlement mentality to subtly reinforce the idea that Black people prefer handouts over hard work. And it is such a it's so disheartening, but it angers me because the lies that they are trying to perpetuate and put on us, and for people who are ignorant and those who don't know, like if you're some white person living in West Virginia who's never even been around Black people, you're going to believe this rhetoric. And that is why, in my opinion, it was so easy for so many of these MAGA and white nationalists to really just fall into the okey doke about this woke wokeism and all of this stuff, that words that Trump and other people like him throw out there without knowledge. So that racial coding, it just perpetuates the stereotype with Black Americans. Number two is discrimination in hiring. Studies show that resumes with traditionally Black names receive fewer callbacks, reinforcing the idea that Black workers are less motivated or less qualified. And that is why, as a side note, Black people, honestly, I mean, it's okay if you like the name Shaniqua or Kilolo, but come on now, when you know you live in a racist society, give your child a fighting chance. You understand? I'm not saying we can't name our children, and it is sad we got to do that, y'all. I know it is. Let me tell you what's so disheartening for me. You see how I got my short hair, right? I in the even now, depending on what type of interview I'm going to, particularly if it's a certain type of white person, this intimidates them or this makes them see blackness more. But if I go in there with a long weave, you understand what I'm saying? Then it's a different treatment. And I'm not making it up. I know because I have experienced it countless times, y'all. I'm a Black woman, and you Black women listening, you know it's the truth too. In corporate America, you know it is. So, unfortunately, Black folk, we live in a society where we got to give our kids a fighting chance. And unfortunately, unless, and it's sad, but unless you're teaching your children, listen, you're not going to work for nobody, you start your own business, do your own, blah, 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 blah. Naming your child Kilokala or Javonia, sometimes, white folk gonna discriminate. It is what it is. All right, let's keep moving. Also, unequal wealth distribution. Systemic discrimination in housing, education, and employment keeps many Black families economically disadvantaged. The stereotype of laziness is then used to blame Black people for their struggles rather than acknowledge the systemic racism. How in the hell can a group of people be lazy when white folk have over 400 years of a starting chance? It's hard to catch up. I never ran track, but my brothers were track stars. And I love watching the women track and field. It's just amazing. Probably too because I low key just desire a body like that. But when I watch them race, especially the distance runners, if someone starts and has a 10-minute head start or a 5-minute head start, you ain't catching up unless you Speedy Gonzalez. Andele, andele. You know? Come on now. All right, so why these stereotypes? Why this stereotype of the Black lazy person? Why is that false? Well, first of all, we know why. Black labor built the United States. From slavery to present, Black Americans have been at the center of U.S. economic growth. That's why I'm saying I don't worry about what's going on now with this whole Trump thing because we built this nation. You understand what I'm saying? And so the first shall be last and the last shall be first. And see, they may think that they're digging a ditch for Black people and brown people, but little do they know, you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. And many of them, because they have not repented for the slavery that their ancestors, these white folks' ancestors who participated in slavery, they have not repented. That curse is still on that bloodline. All right, let's keep moving. I'm sorry, I had to spiritualize a little bit. Secondly, why this stereotype is false is because Black entrepreneurship is rising. Despite systemic obstacles, Black owned businesses are growing at rapid rates. Black people have always owned businesses, and that is why And I taught about this before you all. The stereotype about black people always eating watermelons and how it's associated with being unintelligent and stupid and a Sambo. It is because after slavery, black people started selling watermelons. Hell, why not? They planted them in those fields. And so when they were working certain land and sharecroppers and everything, they would get the watermelons and sell them. It became big business. You know, white folk love fruit. And back then they did too. And so white people were like, wait a minute, these N words are making too much money selling watermelon. So let's connect a negative connotation with it. So that's why you see the pictures of these big lip, really dark black people eating watermelons. And that's where the metaphor, I mean, I guess metaphor, or they always say the joke that black people always eating watermelon and fried chicken and they just lazy. Stop. See, the problem is, and y'all got to understand this, Satan, the world does not put a label on someone unless they are a threat. White folk have always been afraid since they brought the first one of us over here in chains. Not that blacks didn't live here before, but what I'm saying when they started enslaving us, they have always feared that one, we will uprise and treat them like they treated us. And two, innately, in every human being, they know that black people, born coming from the continent of Africa, where the Garden of Eden originated, where Adam and Eve were of brown, darker hue, we know, they know that there is a God essence in us. And the Satan hates that. So what better way than to keep saying, you're lazy, you're nothing, you ain't never gonna be nothing, and we're gonna put systems in place to make sure you don't realize your strength and greatness. But little did they know, or yet they did know, but they were hoping we wouldn't know, though we are so much greater. All right, now, economic and social barriers matter. Unequal access to education, hiring discrimination, and racial wealth gaps, not laziness, explain the economic disparities. And again, black women are the highest educated sect of people in America. So all of these stereotypes, they're not new. Those were old stereotypes, and they definitely don't reign true today because we have shown you all that we are walking in wealth, blessings, and prosperity. Yes, every ethnic group, every culture has their outliers that are just messing up. But the majority of us black folk, our families are intact. We are educated. We value education and we are upwardly mobile, trying to grow and build because we know we are the hope and the dream of the slave. All right, so in conclusion, the stereotype that black people are lazy was intentionally created to justify slavery, economic oppression, and racial inequality. It has been reinforced through media, political rhetoric, and social structures for centuries. Understanding the history of their stereotypes allows us to challenge and dismantle it today. So there you have it, folks. When someone, and this is in any area of your life, if someone works so hard against you, it's because there is something great that lies within you. Talk to you soon. Be blessed. Keep your head up.